season 8, episode 32, where you watch the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders making the team, season 6, episode 1. And it's heartbreaking, but we do have standards. I'm Chris Lorenz.
I just turned 18, so I'm excited for this. This is Noah Singer.
If this is your first time joining us, we watch a different reality show discussing it in minute detail, figuring out if it's good or bad. And last week we watched America's Sweethearts, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders, and we put a poll on Twitter, and you guys voted that a top third show. So, there it is. And then, Noah, what show do we watch this week?
Yeah. Different women try to meet the challenging requirements to join the Dallas Cowboys cheerleading team and have their faces adorned posters, calendars, and newspapers all over the world. That was Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders making the team, formerly on CMT, but now on Paramount Plus.
I'm not going to lie, guys. I have the least amount of notes I've ever written for a show.
It was definitely up there. I don't know if this is the least I've had, but it was definitely pitching that direction.
I have 4 lines of notes, and one of them was my quip that I wrote at the last like 2 minutes of the show. I was like, thank God somebody said something.
Man.
So we did the show because we did the Netflix version last week.
Yeah.
And this show is the same show, but way worse.
Yep. That's a good way of putting it.
Like, don't watch this show. Just watch the Netflix one. Is so much better in every conceivable way.
Yeah. This does have a decent rating on IMDb. MTT, making the team. MTT for those in the know. It's a 6.9 series rating out of 10.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good, right? You know?
I mean, if you had nothing else, like if you didn't have the Netflix show, like you didn't, and this show starts in like 2008? Like it starts like what year does the show start?
I think 2006. Give me a second. Yeah, 2006.
Like I could tell this feels so much like what's that singing show?
Making the Band, American Idol.
American Idol. It feels so much like American Idol. It's like, let's get people to try out and show them fun trying out and get everyone's positive comments about trying out. And like, it was so bad. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, but American Idol also started much earlier than this. American Idol.
I'm saying it's got the American Idol feel to it. Not that it's like, not that they're just trying to crop the like beginning of American Idol.
But
especially, I watched the first like 20 minutes of season 1, episode 1, very much trying to do American Idol. Like they're showing bad dancers and people going, ugh. So like it might have been better to do season 1, episode 1 because we could have had that direct comparison. I just thought by season 6 they'd be in the groove, you know. And we saw a Reddit thread and said this was a good season. So this is what we watched. You could thank Reddit.
Yeah, I would say we should have validated IMDb. So IMDb says the best episodes are fascinatingly, they're still E1s, but it's season 13, 14, and 15 in that order of best episodes. All E1s.
I really don't think it matters. I really think it's going to be the same. Feel free to watch and come back to me.
Yeah.
We need to pause so you can watch.
I don't know. I mean, I think building on your premise, right? Like by season 13, it's 7 more years to nail this down. And clearly, assuming this is basically the same show, just on Netflix, right? Like they just said, look, does somebody else want to produce this? We already know how to execute. Like, give us the cash. I'm assuming they got it pretty tight.
Yeah, but there's the thing here is you watch the Netflix show. If Netflix made a season 2, it'd be the same show as season 1. Like there's barely any differences. It's like minor, like the people change.
Yeah.
So like some of the drama might change, but it's not the focus of the show. The show is the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and people trying out for it.
Yeah.
It's like the people matter, but they don't matter enough for me to watch more. You
Well,
know what I
I
mean?
mean, but that's also pretty typical, right? Like, it's the format. This is the format, right? And rinse, wash, repeat. Like,
Yeah, but usually when you watch Survivor, the
yeah,
format's the same, but it's like the show is like all about the people.
mhm.
That's the show. The show's people. This is the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, and that's it. Like that, and like it's like
Yeah,
50% that, 50% the 50% people, 50% how good the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are, and how hard it is to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
I think it's a mix, right? Like the format stays the same. Where the skews a little bit, if we're using Survivor as our baseline, is you do have some consistency in characters on the show because you have the veterans. You also have the directors of the DCC. So for the listeners, DCC is for those that know, called the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Right. So you have like McGonagall. You have the choreographer who seem to be now doing this for 20 seasons, right? At least. So right, but in Survivor, you have the change up of the challenges. So I mean,
I'm
there
just
are
saying
differences, but
it feels like a documentary, and a documentary I don't need to watch again. Like I don't rewatch documentaries.
which is I think that's a very valid thing. I think if you're into the DCC, and clearly some people are, like clearly somebody is watching this, right?
I
Like,
mean, people are trying out,
well, people are
right?
trying out, but they keep putting cameras here and producing, like regardless
I
of
mean,
our
yeah,
taste.
it's a big show. That's why I thought it
Yeah,
was going to be different. And then I
yeah,
looked. I was gonna like, okay, episode one, whatever. Let's
yeah,
see how many episodes is this thing. It's 8 episodes. And the Netflix show is 7 episodes, I think, 7 or 8 episodes. It's like
yeah,
the same, like it's the same. I'm like,
yeah.
there's nothing different. There's no like, let's take 20 episodes and really go through the people and like follow them at their job and like, but it doesn't do that. I thought it would be like more
Yeah.
of like a workplace
Mm,
reality show where they're like, they're dealing with their lives, but
yeah.
it's not. And I'm just like, oh, well,
I
that
mean,
was a
it
waste of
does a
time.
little bit of it, but I know what you mean. Like, it's definitely not as I think good of a job. But I mean, it's hard to argue. So, including Netflix, if they did 7 episodes on Netflix, that's 175 episodes. Like, they have cracked some kind of code, or someone is just wasting money.
I don't know. I see the appeal of one season. I do. I've seen all but one episode of the Netflix show. It's entertaining. It's nice. It's
Yeah,
good to watch.
yeah,
But like the next year, I'm not watching season two. Like it's the same thing to me.
yeah. And I think it's valid. I think there's other people that are going to appreciate the minutia, right? You start getting the DCC deep cuts. You start comparing the talent season over season. You start comparing the rookie who's now the vet and the one who's got some wiggle in her step, right? And you start dishing out that dirt, right? Like I think you
Oh,
get into that.
maybe it is definitely a show you cannot binge. You need to forget last season because it's very
Mm,
forgettable, and then be
mm,
like, "Oh yeah, let's watch this again."
interesting. And I never thought on the binge continuum. Do we
Because
need a
like
new do we need a new question?
I've seen 3 episode 1s in the last week,
Yeah.
and like I think obviously the Netflix ones I like the most because it was the first one I saw, but
Yeah.
it was also filmed way better than obviously. I knew it was going to be filmed better than season 1, episode 1, which is one of the reasons why we.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was season 6, episode 1. Also, it's no good. Maybe season 13. I'm sure every year they get slightly better. Maybe I don't know.
Probably.
It,
But
it
yeah,
could change hands on who's making what. I don't know.
I mean, definitely. I mean, I assume like the head honcho producer, probably stays the same, like who ultimately is calling shots. But no doubt they probably have different directors. Um, like stylistically, from the episode we watched, season 6, episode 1, stylistically felt like a very different show than Netflix episode 1. Like,
I I disagree. I
ooh,
I think it feels very similar,
Hmm.
in every way, except the minor like feel I get the difference between the two is just 2011 versus 2024. It's like
Interesting.
you wouldn't make a 2011 reality show the same way you'd make a 2024 reality show, and like that's the difference. It's
Hmm.
like 2011, you got American Idol. They you literally have weeks and weeks of people trying out, which
Mm-hmm.
is just asininely boring. Whatever you want to watch, by all means.
Yeah.
But this episode one is just people trying out and like getting interviews with people like, how's a tryout going? And you're like, and they're like, great, I love it. I want to be at DCC forever. And like, you
Yeah.
get some vet somebody that almost made the team last year gets kicked out, and you feel sad for her. And I do think it did make me feel sad for that person, which is surprising,
Yeah. I
given
mean, you definitely
how
feel a
much.
little sad. They bust their ass. These are hardcore athletes for the most part.
Well, that's where I think season 1 and season 6 differ, because they definitely showed a lot more non-athletes. And this one, they really showed people that really could make the team most of the time.
Well, see that. So to point, like, this is where I found it to be really differentiated from the Netflix show. What was that called again? Like,
America's Sweetheart.
America's Sweetheart. Thank you. Like the Netflix show, I thought they really focused on building characters. So they had like it was Kelsey, right? She was like the lead, and they had the Christian girl, like coming from Florida. Like they were building up very clear character arcs. This show, much less in season 6, to your point, right? A little bit more shallow, but they focused a lot more on the spectrum of talent that came in, and showing a lot more of the people that are just like coming in real hot with no training. It's like, what are you doing here? Which does give more of that American Idol feel, right? Of like the people that kind of show up, and it's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. It definitely, for me personally, it just feels like the DCC organization is filmed like it's organized better in 2024 than it is in 2011.
That could be it too. I mean,
Like
one big thing, the Netflix show, they get really hard on the veterans versus the rookies, or
yeah. So the big difference here is in 2024, the veterans also had to try out, whereas in
Yeah.
this show, the veterans automatically made it.
Oh, really?
At least they made it to training camp. It seemed like there was no veterans trying out
Interesting.
here.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't pick up on that. That definitely could be, because like they made such a big deal about the vets versus the rookies, and they even wore different uniforms, right? It's like,
well, I think they do wear the different uniforms as like the season keeps going, but I don't know like if the vets automatically make the team, which is different than 2024.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm
not watching. Yeah. I am not watching anymore, so I won't know.
Yeah.
I'll never know.
It's just different stories, right? And that's why it's like this much more American Idol, like show everyone who's trying out, and like just get to see a bit of the tryout. What do they have to do? What do they have to learn? Who can actually do it? Where America's Sweethearts, right? You're learning about the people, individuals, characters, right? It's a character driven.
Well, like this is an episode 1 where they start out with I don't know how many people and cut them to 150 people. So you don't have time to do any of those like super like in-depth learning who they are.
Maybe I don't know.
You get some of them, but as again, I said that you feel sad for the one person that didn't make the team.
But I think this goes back to this stylistic choice, which stuck out to me, in that even on America's Sweethearts, they started out, I think it was like 70-ish people. Like that's still way too many, right, to film and get to know them. So I think 150 versus 70 is kind of indifferent.
It's not 150. It went from like N number to 150 down to like, I don't know what the final number was, 30 or something. I don't know.
But I think my point is that if it's above 20 people, 15 people, you're not getting to know everybody, right? Like we've established that so many times. And so that's why I think it comes down to a style choice, in that even America's Sweethearts, they decided to make these characters. They could have done that in MTT. They decided no, like there's other reality formats we're gonna riff off of, right? Before we can find our own identity.
Well, I just think that they're gonna do that, just not episode 1.
Could be, right? I mean, they have to, right?
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's kind of
I'm just
crazy.
saying they're gonna do the storylines of the people you care about, just not episode 1.
So what do you think makes a better episode 1? Copy American Idol or where America's Sweetheart went?
Is that even a question? No. Why are you asking me that?
Yeah, we gotta bring the audience along, Chris.
Obviously, I'm very clear that this episode was bad. Like
Yeah.
this episode's a bad television episode. Like
Yeah.
it's not interesting to watch people try out. It just isn't. It's not fun to watch people just like get reviewed and like dunked on and like I just don't care about any of these people. And like,
Yeah.
how can I? How can they get me? Like,
I mean,
it's like
what about the Australian girl? You don't care about the Australian girl?
absolutely not.
Man, she's from Australia.
So what does that matter?
It's just she's from Australia. That's it.
Exactly. Well, what's her favorite color? What does she do in her free time? Like, I don't know.
Her favorite color is Australia.
Yeah. Like this show is like a documentary showing you this is how you try out for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Great. Now I already know that. I already know how you try out.
Right.
So I don't care. Like I don't need to see this episode.
Yeah.
Like this feels like an episode 0 to me. It's like, you know, you could watch this. This is like our fluff episode where like you can meet all the people joining the competition, but the competition starts episode 1. Like this is like what you would watch. Like if you're watching Alone and you're like, you watch Alone episode 1, they put you alone. But if you want to know the people a little bit more, you can watch our special, which is like you get to meet all the people that are going to be there.
The whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah. This feels like a special you shoot and you're done. And like,
I see.
And then episode 1 is like actually you're going to camp and like we could actually start these storylines with people.
Yeah. I could see that. I mean, that's not a bad way. Like that'd be interesting if we see some reality shows do that, right? We have like the super extended episode 1, right? Then they keep going on. So you're onto something, right? People do.
I mean, they do it. They do these episode 1, like even the challenge I think does like something where like, you know, meet the cast before the competition starts, you know, just kind of like you need to like, you want to, you know, build up to be able to watch this season. Like, great, watch people try out. By all means, have fun. I'll skip that episode because I don't want to watch it. Like, I think if you are DCC, if you are a Making the Team fan, I would be surprised if you watched episode 1. Like, it's
interesting.
Like, I think you just skip this episode because it's
maybe.
I think you do. If it's me, I skip it.
I think if you're a DCC fan, you're not skipping any episode for like, you know, you gotta read the first chapter.
I think you gotta skip it. It's what I told you. It's how do you try out for the DCC? That's what this show is. That's what this episode is.
You get some of the baseline story. Like I think it's equivalent to someone watching Marvel films and be like, you can just skip the first half hour of every Marvel film. Whatever. This is just going to be a fight. Just go watch the fight.
No. This is like you can watch the previously on in 30 seconds and get all the story you fucking need from this episode, starting episode 2.
But I think that's too reductive of an argument.
That is not a reductive argument. You want me to cut this?
Any reality show?
I will cut this down to 30 seconds for you. I will.
I know you can. I'm not arguing that you can't, but saying that applies for MTT, I think that's more a position on the reality TV show genre for the most part. But like, yes, you can cut episode 1 down to 30 seconds.
Let's transport us back to American Idol times.
Yeah.
In American Idol, people watched all these auditions, and you would go and you audition, and you'd have a chance to be on TV. And like, how many times can you watch somebody audition to like sing? Like, to me, almost none. Like, I didn't watch it at the time. I don't want to watch it now. But like this is literally that from that era of television.
It is.
For sure.
It for sure is. It's kind of funny. That was always my favorite part of American Idol, because like you would just like it would move a lot faster. Like when American Idol went on, right, you'd get these like deep storylines that just like took forever to get to like the action, which was like in or out. I just found it kind of funny.
Does this get us back to like when Who Put This On started? Like what era of reality TV was that?
I mean, I think I wasn't obviously part of the starting crew, but I think you guys started like 2015. When did y'all start?
Yeah, I think it's been 10 years. I think it's 2014.
2014. And so and I think the stuff you guys were watching then was definitely more of like cookie cutter. The reality genre, I mean, even by 2014 was maturing a lot, and we were just in like
our first episode of Who Put This On was a show called Utopia, which was definitely not cookie cutter. I promise you.
No. I mean, by that point, reality TV show was almost 20 years old. Reality TV, right?
I mean, no, I think 2000 when Survivor started is when you could consider reality shows starting.
Well, you got to read the book I've been telling you about. So
I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
I know.
It's not coming out of the library yet.
Yeah. So for the listener, the book called Cue the Sun. I'll be referring to it because like it goes over. It's literally the history of reality TV. But the formal kickoff is the Real World, and I've heard
the Real World is the quote unquote first one. I'll give you that.
Right.
But it didn't spawn like a ton of shows.
No, you're right. It was a slow burn.
Like, Survivor starts and then you get like a million shows.
You're right. No, Survivor, like once that really hit, so like what happens, you have like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, right? And that was super hot. Then you have Survivor coming in, and Survivor now crushes Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which is like everyone's flabbergasted. Then you have Big Brother coming in. Big Brother was already starting to like it was already greenlit. And then you have the combo of Survivor, Big Brother, and the shit just blows up. Like
anyway, Utopia, the show Utopia, because we clearly have a lot to talk about, is they took people and put them on like, I don't know, some ranch somewhere, and they had to transform it. They had to be like a democracy and come into a utopia, and you could watch them 24/7. And the show didn't last very long. It's gone. You can't watch it. But the podcast might be worth listening to compare, today versus, 10 years ago.
It'd be kind of interesting.
I mean, Max posted his first ever podcast that he was on, which was a 24 recap podcast that Rob, me, and Harrison did. And he was a special guest on one of the earlier episodes. So that was our first podcast foray.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that, we had these little cutouts, 24 recap, right? It's like side, very much veering off the side.
Okay. The 24 recap podcast was 2014. So maybe Who Put This On was later because it was after that.
Oh man. Yeah.
The DPPL was our first podcast, the David Palmer Presidential Library.
That was a show?
No, that was the name of our podcast.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense. So that transformed into WPTO?
No, that was just our old show. That was focused on 24.
That makes sense. Okay. All right.
And then we started this show.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to this garbage of a show.
So I do have one minutia to talk about the show, like actually about the show.
Yeah, sure.
So I brought up Australian Girl. I didn't take down her name, so she's gonna go by Australian Girl. Sorry, Australia Girl, if you are listening. But anyway, so one of the key differences of this show, it's taped over, it seems like several weeks. And Australia Girl is from Australia. She lives there. She lives in Sydney. And episode 1 ends saying, "Great, we'll see you in a week." Where is Australia Girl sleeping? Who's paying for her hotel room? Like, what's going on here?
Okay, there's two things here.
Yeah.
The show is weekly, so maybe it's we'll see you in a week, but really we'll see you tomorrow.
That's fair.
It
Yeah,
is probably most likely what's going on, because it's like, come out one day, I assume that it could be like a whole weekend thing because like they're trying to encourage people with jobs to apply and all that, like try out. So it could be like this whole episode was in one weekend where they had like one day one, day two, and then you make the team. Then I could see DCC covering like your hotel or something while you're there to join camp, or if camp is during the week or whatever, great. Probably start the next day. If it doesn't start till next weekend, then you'll get it. Like the next week thing is definitely like wink, wink. This show next week.
You got to be right. Yeah, for sure, you're right. So actually, I was one other minutia. So there was a veteran returning at the tryout. So actually, no, yeah. So the vets have to try out because it was this girl trying out.
I don't think so.
No, because they made a comment that she got fat, and this girl,
that person got cut before she made the team.
But I think she was coming back.
I don't think so.
Oh, I misheard it, I guess. Or maybe
she didn't make the team because she was fat.
I found it crazy they thought this girl's fat. This girl was by no definition fat. Maybe in DCC definition, but like
exactly the DCC definition, she was fat.
I was shocked. They're like, this girl's got wiggle on her, and I'm like, she's got about as much wiggle as a rock. Like
maybe that's just a polite way to like put her to like say she didn't make the team.
Maybe,
but like
I was shocked. It was I felt appalled, Chris.
Appalled. Well, it is what it is. She didn't make the team again, so she out.
I know she is out. Last thing I'll mention, it seems like there's actually a third show in the relationship. So there's obviously MTT, which we're talking about, America's Sweethearts. Then there's an NFL cheerleader playoffs. So not the DCC universe, but it seems like cheerleading teams go head to head. Also from 2006, but it was on the NFL Network.
Nope, I'm out. You can do it yourself, Noah.
It has Chad Ochocinco,
Oh, great! You're definitely getting me to watch it. The last show we watched with Chad Ochocinco was great.
What did we watch?
I don't remember what it was, but we've seen a show with him in it.
Really?
Yeah.
The Ochocinco, man. Oh man, he was a very good player.
And he was a character for sure. He had a personality.
So I'm on it. So he's done Dancing with the Stars. He did a show called Versus, which he did a show called The Ultimate Catch on VH1. He's done a few guest hosting on WWE. He's done professional bull riding. This guy's done a lot. He's out there. I give him credit. He's doing things.
All right. A couple like minor differences, I think. I'll point out, we kind of talked about them as like in the newest season, they did a lot more like video tryouts. There's a lot more video tryout things. In this, there was no video tryout. They just kind of like went and had to dance in front of people. Which I like the video tryout. I like that kind of.
You think that's like just technology? Like
yeah, for sure. Like they don't want you to like send a VHS of your terrible,
right. No,
that's
exactly.
Okay. That's
it definitely would have been a VHS, like, because no one has a DVD recorder.
Yeah. And a shitty cell phone video probably be even worse at that point.
Oh my God. A video in 2006 on a cell. It's going to be like,
well, I'm thinking mainly 2011 because that's when we watched the show.
Oh yeah. 2011.
The season was 2011. And theoretically, I think the iPhone was out, but it's not ambiguous. And not everyone has it at that point.
Ubiquitous, yeah. No, like the iPhone came out in 2007. So at 2011, no. I mean,
a lot of people probably have an iPhone 4. I feel like an iPhone 4, iPhone 5 time frame, like a lot of people have iPhones or smartphones.
You definitely had a lot of so in 2011, like everyone has a smartphone. Actually, I don't say everyone has a smartphone. There's definitely everyone has a cell phone by far, and I think you're probably at like probably 60%, at least in America, smartphone penetration is my guess.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I'm gonna go in the corner on this one.
Go ahead, do what you want.
This is a good AI type of thing.
This is a good AI question. How many? They also go to Cowboys Stadium, which is a different stadium than the one in the Netflix show.
Right. Yeah.
Which is like very different, like atmosphere to host these like tryouts in. It's like people just want to go beyond the Cowboys Stadium and like, go in there.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of crazy. So that's the only differences I got.
So I was off. 35% penetration by 2011.
It's also like what kind of camera are we looking at? An iPhone like 3 through 5 range. It's nowhere near 2024 camera, right?
Yeah, I was just kind of like, I wonder what, so I was way off. I thought 60%. Nope.
All right, we gotta stop talking about this show. Let's do some questions. Who's the worst human being? Noah for picking the show.
Wait, what? Did I pick this show? I watched Shit Crazy. You reeled me back in.
All right, it's me for picking this show. Are you happy, Noah? Are you happy?
I am much happier now. much happier.
Let's see. We gotta come up with some drinking rules for this show. I don't know. What's a good drinking rule? Anytime the like coach says something derogatory, take a drink.
Yeah. Anytime someone messes up, whether intentionally or not, take a drink and spill a little bit on yourself.
Anytime somebody in confessional talks about their looks, take a drink.
Anytime you see big hair, don't care. Take a drink.
Anytime it feels there's a DCC like commercial or propaganda that DCC is awesome, take a drink.
I thought you should just say breathe, because that seems about the right cadence.
I mean, for the show, for sure.
I was gonna say, anytime you see strong cleavage, take a body shot.
There you go. Anytime I'm done with that. Would the show be better?
He's done.
Would the show be better as a Quibi or a TikTok?
Nah,
maybe. I don't know. Probably not.
No, I don't think so. It's kind of funny as how old the show was. Like Quibi and TikTok wouldn't come around for at least a decade.
Is this before Vine? Probably before Vine.
Oh yeah, way before Vine. I mean, Vine was like 2013, 2014, right?
We're talking 2011 here, so it's not,
Oh right, I keep thinking 2006. Yeah, Vine was 2013. Yeah, so not far away.
How fast do you think Max would have watched this show at?
Oh geez, 2.5 maybe.
Yeah, what's the max he can watch it at?
Yeah, he would have gone fast.
I don't know what the max is, but that's Max will watch it at the max.
The max. Yeah.
All right, let's just do ratings. Forget the questions. We do stack ranking system between top, middle, and bottom third. What do you got for me, Noah?
I just have to say, if the show is on Max, we could do Max's Max on Max.
Ooh,
that would have been fun. So despite you really digging the grave on this show, it is a bottom show, but I think it's top of the bottom. Like, unfortunately, it has this comparison to Netflix that is much better produced, much better directed, much better writers, all that put together. The show isn't terrible. I think it moved a little too slow. I think there's actually a lot of good content. They could have edited this a bit better. They probably just didn't have the budget, and they had a formula they're trying to hit. But again, you get a little bit into the niche. You get to see a little bit of how they think about things, whether they're true or not, or fake, who knows. So bottom, but top of the bottom. And Chris, we've got a 2-person pod. What do you think is your rating of the show?
This is a complicated one, because I think this episode alone is very much a bottom third show. I don't want to watch people try out of anything. I don't want to watch it. It's no good.
Yeah.
Like, don't watch. I don't want to watch that. But I don't think that like really eliminates the show from contention of being above a bottom third, because I do think the Netflix show really shows that there's like the people are like interesting and the people can be good.
Yeah.
So I like, it has potential, but I'm going to put it at the bottom, unfortunately, because I think if we watched it reverse and we did Max's episode 2 month, maybe we would have gotten something more interesting out of this. It's just like, like if we didn't watch the Netflix one, I might have watched more to see what was going on, like what the actual show was, because this isn't the actual show. This is episode 0. Episode 0, I don't want to watch you. It's no good.
Yeah.
You're putting your worst episode first. It's no good.
No.
That's why
that's not the DCC way.
it's definitely not. It's definitely not. So unfortunately, you got to go in the bottom third for that. And the fact that I'm watching the Netflix one means I'm not going to watch more of this, because it's clearly a way inferior show at this point.
Yeah.
So there you go. Tell us what you thought about the show at Who Put This On. Tell us your memories and like what you love about the show. And like, it's a long running show. People like it. It's just unfortunate in the year of 2024 to go back and try to watch these old shows. We got to remember, but at the end of the day, got to rate it
the year of the Lord 2024.
Any shout outs this week, Noah?
I will shout out once again, Revisionist History, Malcolm Gladwell's podcast. The latest season, I don't know actually when it came out, probably not too old, but not too new, is about what he calls Hitler's Olympics, the 1936 Olympics in Nazi Germany. Entertaining read. Basically, each episode's like a profile of a different person that kind of like enabled it to happen, or it was like part of like the narrative Malcolm's trying to weave. So it's been quite entertaining. I am definitely a fanboy of it, so take that bias as you see fit. But yeah, once again, Revisionist History. What about you, Chris?
Rings of Power. The season 2 is out. The Lord of the Rings show on Amazon. I'm really enjoying the show. I think it's doing a great job of, showing how the rings got made and how evil and like infects Middle Earth before Lord of the Rings. And I would watch it. I think it's great. I think you should.
Did they go to Jared?
Jared, the jewelry guy?
Yeah, he said how the rings got made.
Oh, yeah. No, Jared just sells the rings. They don't make the rings.
I didn't know that. Okay.
All
Their
right,
marketing is deceiving.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell us what you thought about this show at Who Put This On X. Oh, that's my dog. Facebook.com/Who Put This On. Email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. And next week, we're going to watch Chimp Crazy on HBO. Since we already started it and says it's crazy. So get ready. And we'll see you guys next time.
On that, I think that could be a 2-episode show. It's like episode 1 is got its claws in you,
Okay.
Or your paws in you, I guess.
All right, we'll see you then.